right, we're live here at Studio G in Hickman, Tennessee. I'm Rusty Burton, your host.
And this is Paul Martin, and you're in the huddle. Hut, hut.
Hut. All right, Paul. It's 2017, a whole new football season. We've been doing a couple preseason shows, trying to get pumped up. Did a little Facebook Live the other day with you rambling. How jacked up are you about this season?
I tell you, Rusty, it's been a full year since we watched some Gordonsville football, and
well, we got to see a little in the Jamboree.
We got to see a Jamboree, and I actually got to go watch a little junior high football tonight, so I'm getting myself into football spirit. But I tell you, I actually missed you during the off season because missed being on the show, and missed being able to do this, and I just love what we do for the fans, and I don't know if they feel the same, but I love doing the show and just love talking some Gordonsville football, and I'm excited. I'm excited to get this 2017 year underway, and we're gonna get it underway Friday night. So
that's right. We got a little sneak peek the other night at the Jamboree against Macon County. We're gonna talk about that coming up. But Paul, tell us about this junior high team now. We spent a little time in their locker room earlier in the week putting on some helmet decals for these guys. Did they tear any of them off tonight?
No, I didn't see any of the decals tore off their helmets. But I'm glad you brought that up to talk about the Gordonsville junior high team because
they gotta give these guys some recognition. You know,
they are the future of Gordonsville High School, and a couple kids stood out for us on offense, and as far as the defense goes, I bet I'm gonna say they probably held the Owls to about 45 yards for the night, and the Owls only got one touchdown, and that was on like the B teamers, C teamers, or whatever.
My son comes. I'm gonna ask you about this. See if you've seen this.
But anyhow, it was we wound up winning the game 30-8.
My son comes in. He went part of the game. He didn't go the whole game. He stayed for most of it. And my son comes in. I asked him, "Son, did you go to the junior high game?" He said, "Yeah." He said that we had a kid that just plowed over about four of theirs. Did you remember watching this play? I mean, I didn't get to see it.
Well, we did have that happen. That was the Burnley kid. He ran over about four guys, and I heard one of the fans up in the stands say he's still going. Yeah. And the kid went for a 23-yard touchdown and just run through several Owls on his way. So, kid's name was Burnley, and Burnley's an athlete. And then
some of the other athletes. Whose name?
And then another athlete they got that Burnley scored 2 touchdowns for us. And
so is he the quarterback or another?
He's a running back.
He's a running back. What number is he?
He's number 32 or 4 or something. And then number 15, Trayson Davis. That boy had two touchdowns as well. And
that's the son of the legend Trey Davis.
That is correct, and he had 2 touchdowns as well.
High school, you know, I played tight. I always told you a story. I played tight end and on our practice squad when I was a sophomore. And if we'd call went with strong left, I'd go over there and I'd line up against Trey. Trey had a big heart, you know. He'd hit me and put me out of the way or whatever, just get me out of the way where he can make his little tackle or whatever. And then I'd go the other side of the line against Bobby Hutchinson. And this guy, he didn't need a mouthpiece. He doesn't have a tooth missing. The guy was just tough. I think he pulled it himself just for fun. Rough kid, just mean. I mean, him and Trey were about the same size, just big old kids and tough kids. And, you know, I give him a lot of credit for making me tough, you know. Bobby was no host, but he was going to uppercut you when you come off the line. It didn't matter if he was on his team or not. He was going to toughen you up. But so you got to hear Trayson Davis' name a lot. Any other names you hear?
Well,
class coming up, the 7th grade class.
Well, a couple of her 2-point conversions. The little Albritton kid, I think his name might be Matthew Albritton or something. And he's the quarterback, and he got 2 2-point conversions tonight. And so the kid's athletic, and plus he returned the kick for probably about 20 or 25 yards. So the kid's very athletic and can throw the ball well. And
so that puts the junior high now. What, Coach Petty's squad 1-0?
They're 1-0 with a 30-8 win tonight, and they held the Owls to probably, like I say, about 45 yards of offense. And and they was in the negative through 3 quarters. So they didn't get positive yardage till the 4th quarter. So
our B team we get to come in and get a little action toward the end. Is that what
they did? They come in, got a little action, and Carthage finally did score on a little swing screen.
We got some pretty good athletes on that team. I know the 7th grade class coming up. They got a pretty good little football team, and to go along with them 8th graders they got now. I mean, that's another thing I noticed. I've been doing these helmet decals for Coach Petty now for about 4 years, since my son was in 8th grade, and he's a junior now. So, they would have 25, 28, 29 kids, and this year they got almost as many as a high school. And I tell you a kid that I seen piling on the ball tonight on defense. Number 50, I don't really know what the kid's name is, but number 50, I forget what they called the kid, but number 50, he was probably my standout on defense tonight. Cause your player of the game on defense.
He was my player of the game on defense because number 50 was all over the place, making several tackles, and I was very proud of that number 50.
I tell you what, I'll get this kid's name. I'll get Petty to get us a roster, and we'll get some of his names mentioned on the air.
All right, but and even Crosland's son, number 58, made some good plays. So I was pretty impressed with that kid too.
Future's looking bright.
And Dalton Dillard, which is I think it's Josh Dillard, Josh Dillard's son.
Amanda,
he come in there and made several plays. So I was proud of Dalton Dillard and was proud of the Crosland kid, Dalton might be a 7th grader, but he made some plays, and Crosland made some plays, and then that number 50 made several plays. So those 3 players were piling on.
We had one of these young men come up to you. I don't know what number he is and all. Like I said, I might get a roster, but Friday night as we was walking in the Jamboree, we was going up behind the bleachers there to the hill, and one of these young men stopped and shook your hand. You know who that was? I believe that would have been Drew Agee, which is...
Is he one of the players on the team?
Butch Agee's son, yes, sir.
And he's on the junior high, too?
I'm not 100% what number he is, but, Paul, that just goes to show you got some fans out there, son.
Yeah, and I appreciate...
They enjoy you going to watch them play football.
I appreciate having the young fans and doing what I can do to help them out, too, and kind of be a role model to them, but... Sometimes, though, old Paulie, I got to be honest, sometimes old Paulie does get lazy sometimes. But...
cleaning helmets. Paul don't like to clean helmets.
I don't.
And
I don't, but I can say...
We spent hours in my shop here cleaning several of these helmets. And, Paul, what I tell you, these kids take a lot of pride in seeing how dirty and how much they can beat that helmet up. And it makes our job tough. But it's actually rewarding when you get them all done and see them kids out there. They look good tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, how many other junior highs get big double stripe and 2 G's and...
Absolutely right.
They're just a good looking decal out there.
But
and you played a big part in that, helping me out do all that.
Yeah, I was. I did my part, what little bit I could, and then I got a little discouraged after that. But I did help you.
You did wear the toothbrush out. I'll give it that.
I did help you out for a day or a day and a half, something like that.
Yeah,
but
you helped me out on
anyhow though, I was proud of the effort, and we're 1-0. And if y'all want to watch the junior high, their next game is 6:30 at Monterey Thursday night. So they're going to try. They're going to drive to Monterey and try to be 2-0, and I think they can do it because from what I've seen tonight. They're very athletic and they're very tough and they pack on you like a pack of hyenas, and that reminds me of when I played pee-wee football, the way we used to tackle. I was 80 pounds and I would tell my teammates where I was 80 pounds, I'd say y'all hold them up and I'll spear them. And I would jump on that pile and ride them down, and that's what I lived for, to ride that pile down.
There you go.
And they had me playing safety, by the way.
Free safety.
Yeah.
You're just waiting on the guy to hit the hole, wouldn't you?
I was waiting on them to get piled. I was waiting on them to get piled up where I could spear them.
You was waiting on some linebacker to make a mistake where you go in there and clean up, right?
Right.
Yeah, I used to enjoy that myself.
But Pee Wee football is where it all starts, and we didn't win a single game. We went 0-10, but that wasn't really what it was all about. Though win losses ain't really what it's all about at that age. At that age, it's about having fun and developing as a team and learning how to play football.
Well, you got some kids that probably this year in junior high. I know a lot of these kids start when they're 6, 7 year old now. You got a lot of these kids in junior high coming up that
didn't start that young.
They've probably never played a down of football, and don't really know about the game. And I think they got the right man to teach them about football. Is Coach Petty. I don't think there's a better coach around.
And then they also got Coach Peoples, and then a few others.
Exactly. He's got a good staff around him, and these guys learn the same thing that high school does.
I was walking by the park this evening, and I didn't know it, but evidently, Coach Clemens is coaching the little kids now, because I seen him out there coaching them, maybe the Pee Wee kids. So maybe Coach Clemens is now coaching the Pee Wee kids.
Well, we'll have them in the shotgun running the flat pass and everything else for you. You know it, Paul.
So the fact that Coach Clemens is coaching those Pee Wee kids, they're learning at a young age how to be successful, because I know Coach Clemens is going to do a good job with those kids.
Hey, we'll have to get up there sometime and watch them young fellers in if Clemens. I think Colton, his son, plays.
Yeah, so that might be another priority we might have to do. Watch the really young kids.
Yeah, we'll have to get up there. Here a couple years ago, we covered them on this show last year. I think they won the championship.
The really little kids?
Well, I think they were the older kids. I think we had a team from up here at Gordonsville win the championship, which was that's good, because that class now, I think some of them older kids are in junior high.
And there's this spider crawling around on the ground, so bear with me a minute. I'm gonna have to kill a spider.
You missed him a foot, Paul.
He's dead.
There you go.
I got him.
You got the spider. Everything's all right, folks.
Everything's all right. Paul had to kill a spider, everybody, because that sucker could have very easily beat him if he didn't use his 400 pounds to smash that booger.
Paul has probably saved my life. But that first shot, Paul, you missed, about that far.
I did miss, but I got him on the rebound and possibly saved mine and Rusty's life, because we very easily could have got bit by the sucker.
That's right.
But thanks to Paul and his 400-pound frame, the spider didn't have much hope.
You had a keen eye for that. You know what I mean?
And Paul's got eyes like a hawk, because he could see that spider coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
And Rusty might not have never even caught it, but Paul.
My desk, I probably would have never seen it.
But Paul just knew that spider was coming, and he was not about to let him get away.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's the talk about the junior high, and they'll play again, as we say, Thursday night, 6:30 at Monterey, and we're gonna go from that talk to maybe talking about the Jamboree Friday night.
County Jamboree. So, what do you think? What do you think about Jamboree, Paul? I'll give you my thoughts on it here in just a minute. What do you think about it?
Well, I think our offense looked pretty good. Our offense moved the ball a little bit in the first few drives. Of course, we did have to punt the ball a lot in those first few drives, but we finally did it at the end of the first half, get a score on the board, that touchdown was scored by the fullback Matthew Thompson on a 2-yard fullback dive, but it was set up. It was set up by a long pass from Goolsby to McKinley, and I'm telling you, we're going to see some good things out of that McKinley kid this year, because he's got some pretty super speed.
I think over the summer, I think it's more than just speed. That kid's just tough. If you got to witness any spring practice, and they play bull in the ring, I don't think McKinley got whipped once. And it didn't matter who they put in there with him; he was whipping everybody. And we actually practiced Macon County, and they come down and actually play bull in the ring. We run the Oklahoma drill, and McKinley, he really stood out. He's probably one of my most improved players over the summer. He stepped up, and I think he's going to take a senior leadership role. And
is he a senior?
I think he's going to be a senior, and I think he's going to step up for us this year. I have a feeling.
But that's one of the players that him and Chris Welsh is two players that I'm really looking forward to watching play this year. And I've made the bold prediction, in case y'all don't know, I've made the bold prediction on Facebook that one of them kids is going to take a kickoff back for a touchdown this year. And that's Paul's prediction. You heard it right here.
Both them kids got a little speed, and Welch, he runs hard. You know, he does run hard.
But I look forward to watching those two kids play football this year.
Yeah. Well, Paul, defensively, how do you think we're looking at Jamboree?
Well, I think we got a little bit of end trouble. We're gonna have to get our defensive ends more tougher and get them to make plays. And a lot of our mistakes we're making is they're trying to tackle with their head down. They've got to get their head up.
Well, we've seen that numerous times in this preseason. We saw it last season. I said early on last season we had a kid that, you know, be in the perfect position to make a tackle and drop his head and look at the ground, and you can't tackle anybody looking at the ground. That's just. And, you know, those are mistakes we can fix. I've been watching a little bit of Huddle, and we had kids that, you know, coming through the line of scrimmage untouched, and we'd have two linemen blocking one. And, you know, that's just mistakes we're going to have to eliminate before we get on down the road and get into, you know, we got 2 games, Watertown and
Smith County.
First 2 games. Who's our third game?
Third game, I think, if I ain't mistaken, will be like Red Bowling.
So we got 2 games before a region game, for it actually counts toward our season, that we got to fix those mistakes. You can't be doing that during region play. You've got to be on point because you can't lose any of those. To you know, just set yourself up down the road. That's what the goal is. The playoffs, the first 2 games, you know, they matter. Of course, we always want to win every time we step on the field, but. You know, those 2 games are really a good practice for whenever you hit the region.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a challenge. Both those teams are going to give us a challenge. And as far as my opinion of the Jamboree, and I've always said this, I never did like playing in Jamborees. It was always good to go out and get yourself in game mode. You know, you would get on your outfit and you put your helmet and your cleats on and you get ready to hit somebody. But all in all, it was just it was more of a practice for the next week and to get you so you weren't you didn't have butterflies when you go out the next week, which, you know, it did happen. You know, you go out for that first opening game and a Jamboree just can't prepare you for that. But anyway, I think we.
What's some advice that if you could give Braxton and Gooseby and some of our kids that are some of our old veterans, if you could give them some advice going into Watertown, what kind of preparation do they need to put in the night before so they don't go in there and get overhyped themselves for the game? Because I mean, it's very easy if you don't prepare to go into a game overhyped and be a little too hyped up. So what kind of advice would you give these star players of ours to kind of not overhype this and actually come in there and be kind of humbled and ready to play?
A run-on sentence. I would teach them all about a run-on sentence. What you just did there. I was prepared to answer your question, and I knew exactly what you was asking. And you asked it for 4 minutes. I don't know how many minutes it was. But
all right. Well, I was trying to make sure I got it out like I wanted to get it out.
You got it out, Paul.
But anyhow, how do you prepare the night before? Because this all starts Thursday night.
First off, the coaches know that they need to eat a good meal. So that's why on Thursdays the team gets together and they go eat a team meal somewhere. And I don't know where that's going to be. Probably a church or somebody's going to feed the kids. And they always feed us something healthy. Good carbohydrates, load up with carbohydrates, drink plenty of water because, you know, it's still early in the year and heat always plays a factor early on. And to keep yourself from cramping up, you know, that's what I say do. Eat a good meal, get a good night's rest, and go to sleep early and wake up ready to go. You know. But look, I'm gonna go back and touch on this. What I seen in the Jamboree. All right. My perspective, I think we're practicing right now throwing the football. And I think that's what we saw Friday night was a lot of practice throwing the football because that's where we need work the most. I think we know we can run the football. We've got a 1,600-yard rusher and a couple 300-pound linemen. We are going to have some guard issues that somebody's going to step up and play that position. And they'll figure it out. We got some young guys there.
Center, how are we looking at center?
Center, we got a veteran center, Jason West.
So you think we're going to be all right on the center position?
You know, we've had a few low snaps, but I've always said this. I'd rather have a low snap as I had a high one any day. Because you watch Huddle with me. How many times did Watertown, how many bad snaps did they have where they snapped it over the head?
Several.
I counted at least 3. And those would kill a good football team. And at least if it's at your feet, you got a chance to go down and get on that ball and cover it. So I think that position is playing it right. Our quarterback, I noticed the other night, he threw the ball harder. He's throwing the ball harder. Goolsby stepped up in the pocket a time or two and actually slung the football, which is something that I hadn't seen him do, against maybe Livingston or DeKalb.
So he's actually showing some signs of improvement.
Yeah, he's feeling more comfortable back there, and I think that's all it amounts to.
And he even stepped up when the play broke down and got a yard on a run, didn't he?
He done exactly what he had to do, and that's something that you can't really teach. You can teach it and tell them what they did wrong after the fact, but they have to identify that.
And that's what we've been waiting on. You and I's been waiting on him to get rid of the football a little bit quicker and make better decisions, because we felt like in some of the passing leagues that he might have been hanging on to the ball just a little bit too long. But the other night he adjusted and got rid of it when he needed to get rid of it, and he stepped up and made a good run when the play broke down, and we seen some signs of improvement out of him, and that's what we're looking to see week in and week out, improvements.
That's right. We're going to have some receivers step up and catch the football.
Of course, I think he still needs some work on those passes, like those little lateral passes down the seam, sideline to sideline, because he's throwing them a little high.
The key to those is actually hitting them in the numbers, where they don't have to go up for a ball or go down for a ball.
Right, but he's still a tad high on those plays.
Those kids have to be able to take off immediately after they catch that football, and that's with any catch. A good thrown ball.
So we want to see him keep the ball down around the numbers, because that's where it needs to be.
If you'll pay attention when that ball's thrown a touch high and the kid's got to go up to get it, that wastes so much time going to get that football, or even going down to the ground to get that football.
He's probably better to overthrow a ball than to throw high.
Yeah, I mean, you want to hit the kid in the numbers. That's just the way it is. He's done better at that the other night.
He did.
We had some kids. Adam Brinkley went down, and I don't care what the ref said.
I thought it was a catch.
I thought it was a catch. I've watched it on Huddle 3-4 times. I don't think there's any way he trapped that ball. But I'm not the ref. I'm not the judge. But to me, it looked like a catch. But I've been wrong before. But that kid stepped up.
And we may see Adam have a few balls thrown his way this year.
We've got some guys that are wanting to catch the football. That kid wants to play football. You can tell it. He wants to get better at playing football.
And in case y'all don't know, that is one of my cousins, and he's always wanted to play football. You're right.
Yeah.
He's always wanted to play football.
Anyway, we got McKinley, Bill Washer. Both those kids got hands that are.
And then once he gets back from injury, we got Skysham Washer, which is also going to do some big things for us, I think, even if it's on defense.
I look forward to seeing him come back. Now, we had a couple of our second and third string running backs coming there during the JV portion of that game.
Welsh looked good.
And Jalen Brown. Both them kids run hard.
And even number 29, who's that?
Bodecker, I think.
Bodecker?
He's a Bodecker kid. I think he's a
29 even had a run or two decent.
Yeah, he reminds me of little Ryan Hall when he runs. Just real short and just wide open. But I think our tailback's position is looking pretty good. Of course, we got, like you said, who scored a touchdown? Thompson.
Yeah.
I think he could even play some tailback if he had to. He's a fullback. Got the fullback frame and a big kid. And I saw a couple against Moore County. He missed a couple blocks. Those guys coming through the line, and the other night I didn't see that out of him. And he actually made a couple blocks and blocked a lot better. But you expect to get better every week, and that's what we were always taught.
But as a lot of people, as I was reading on CoachT.com though the other day, or they pretty much rested Braxton the other night in the Jamboree. He only had maybe 4 carries, but I think on those 4 carries he had like 40 yards, so he looked pretty good on his 4 carries.
Well, if you look back to last season, we know Braxton can run the football. And
that might not have been something that we really needed all that much work on, and that might be why they rested him.
3 of the same guys blocking for him with West, Pope, and Vaught. Vaught's going, and they're both, all 3 of those kids can block.
But I got some good news, Tiger fans. I talked to him the other night, and he said he's been icing his ankle every day after scrimmages and after practice, and he told me he's ready to run. So we expect him to run and run hard Friday night.
He's ready to go, ain't he?
Yep.
Well, you got to be. But anyway, we got three of the 5 back from last year that are blocking for him. Like I said, we're going to have 2 new guards, which I'm not sure about Billy Bennett. He's been injured. I think he said his Achilles maybe. He pulled it, a tendon or something. Said he was going to be out a couple weeks. And he can actually play guard if he has to. He's been playing a lot of linebacker. And, we got Cripps that's been playing some guard, and there's another kid that stepped in there and played, and I'm not 100% of his
What
name.
position is Tristan Pope, or not Tristan Pope, but Tristan Corthell playing?
Corthell plays fullback. He's been injured for us, and he plays linebacker. So you're going to see him and Thompson probably swapping in and out. But I think Corthell could play guard also. He could step in there and play guard. And like I said, we got athletes that are going to have to play both sides of the ball, but they can play those positions well. And as time goes on, the coaches will be able to determine who's better at this position and who's better at that, and that's what they get paid to do.
But Hunter Vault, he's not a guard though, is he? Or is he?
He's a tackle. Him and Pope are tackles, and Braxton, his running style is run off tackle with a pulling guard. And if you got a fullback leading that kid, we know we can run the football. So that doesn't, right now I'm not concerned about being able to run the football. I know we didn't see him a whole lot. But when he did run the football, he run a whole lot, and he run hard. And when I say that on one of those plays that I mentioned, him running, he gained I think he gained 12 yards after contact, which means he actually found the hole, and you could see his explosion, just plain as day. Exploded, and his right shoulder caught the chin of some poor kid on Macon County, and his helmet goes rolling off. And he gained 12 yards after contact.
And something else I seen, Chris Welsh on his first 2 carries, his first carry was about 45 yards, and his second carry was about 25 more yards. So that kid, once he found the hole, he was a trotting down the sideline, and I didn't think he was going to catch him. I thought he was going to break about an 80-yarder.
He's got some wheels, That kid's got some wheels. We got a lot of those young kids that are, the future's looking bright. If you count the junior high team we just talked about, they're going to be playing with a couple of the Underwood boys, right? Hunter Clemens is coming up. They're going to have a great football team here just a year or 2 down the road. So
I brought up the conversation today in the stands. I said, with that Trayson Davis kid being a freshman next year, I said, what about the possibility next year of maybe putting him in there and starting him as a freshman? And somebody said, I don't think the coach really looks at speed as much as he does size when starting a freshman.
Well, you got to develop a little bit of maturity to play the high school quarterback position. Now, there's kids that can step in and play that.
Well, I was thinking more along the lines of lining him up at receiver and letting him play receiver as a freshman.
Well, you want to work those younger guys in the game as much as you can. Of course, that's down the road, Paul, but we're still going to have Goolsby next season. He's just a junior.
And Braxton's coming back again.
Braxton will be back.
And Pope, Pope may be.
No, Pope's a senior.
Pope's a senior, so he's done.
Yeah, we
right?
don't have many seniors. We got Chris Ray. He's a senior. He's starting cornerback.
And maybe McKinley.
Let's just talk about these seniors for a minute. I'm going to go over them and talk about them. We got Chris Ray the other night. He's an aggressive little kid. You know what I'm saying? He's aggressive. Him and Dez Bryan out there was having a battle. And it didn't matter if the ball was going the other way or not. He was hitting that kid. And that's what you like to see. Of course, you got to keep that between the whistles and be physical. That's what we like to see it going to football. To me, that's going to football, being physical. All right. Then we have Stallings. He's going to be a senior. And he can pretty much play any position on the field. He could probably fill that guard position if we needed him to.
Absolutely.
And, that kid, he reminds me a lot of me when I played football. Because my senior year, I played a total of about 4 positions. I played a little wide out. I played tight end. I did play a little bit at guard. A few plays. Wasn't a whole lot. When our guard went out and cut his elbow, he had a little blood on his elbow, knocked the scab off.
Only difference
Guess
is
who gets to play guard?
You.
Me.
The only difference is, though, Stallings could probably play a little quarterback, and you never did line up at quarterback.
Stallings is a little more athletic than I was.
You never did line up at quarterback.
No, I never lined up a quarterback. I didn't want to. And we had a great quarterback, so I didn't,
But you pretty well played a lot of other positions besides QB.
And I played cornerback, strong safety, and free safety on defense. And I played slot back, some wide out, some tight end, and this is all within a 6-7 game period. So I was one of them versatile kids that just bounced all over the field, and that's what Stallings reminds me of. And back then I think, well, I'm not a very valuable player to this team, and looking on it now, Stallings is a very valuable asset, and it gives me a whole new outlook on that as the position I play. People ask me what position I play. Like, well, I played a little bit everywhere, and I take a lot of pride in that now. But back then, I was thinking I was getting moved around because I wasn't real good at one position, but I was actually filling a need. And that's what Stallings does well, is if somebody goes down, I think that kid can step up and play any of those positions, and he's going to play it well.
And to go along with Rusty's athleticism, that are playing different positions, and Stallings doing the same, he's also got a little bit of Mighty Martin's heart, too. He's got the heart.
He's got some heart and fight. All right, now we've covered those two kids, Stallings and Ray. Both of those are aggressive kids. All right, then you got McKinley. McKinley's an aggressive kid. A lot of people don't see it. He is an aggressive kid. Now, he plays a lot at the receiver position. Did he play any in the secondary? I'm sure he played some in the secondary the other night, didn't he? I think we've...
he might have.
Yeah, we got another senior in secondary we'll talk about, but McKinley has some hands. If that kid was about 40 pounds heavier and 4 inches taller, he would be a beast. That's all you can say. That kid, he's aggressive. And can catch anything you throw at him. He's got some moves. He's real, quick. Kid's got a lot going for him. All right, and then you've got Austin Fan. Right, Austin. This is going to be the first year Austin's really seen a lot of action.
The thing about Austin is he's an aggressive kid and he'll hit you, but he's the one that a lot of them that's dropping his head and not seeing what he's tackling. Now if that kid can learn to keep his head up, then he's gonna make some great plays for us and really step up and fill that corner position and fill it well.
I think he plays safety.
For safety position and fill it well.
I think we had him playing safety, and Stallings is strong safety. Chris Ray's a corner, and then on the other corner we've been working a couple different players. And I think Bill Washer has been playing over there, and he's played it well. And Bill's just a junior. But when you look at our secondary with Fan, you got 3 seniors sitting back there. Fan is one of those kids that can play football, and he's never really been a starter. So when you go out and look at that, he's dropping his head to make a couple tackles. The other night, I didn't see that as much in the Jamboree. Like at Moore County, I seen it about twice. I know at Livingston, I seen it once. He would be in the perfect position to make a play. And we went over this last year with Askew, I believe it was. He made 3 mistakes, and it cost us 3 touchdowns. And that was early on in the season. And by season's end, he's playing great football. And I expect Austin to do the same. He's going to get better each and every week, and he's going to learn to keep his head up and tackle right. Not only is keeping your head up the way to tackle, it's also a safety issue.
You're absolutely right, because if you get hit with your head down, you could break your neck or anything. So you need to keep your head up for a safety reason and because you can see to tackle a guy better.
Yeah, my son may never play a down in high school football in a real game, and start. But I've always taught him, son, if you're going to tackle, keep your head up. Not because it's the way to do it, because I want to see him walk off that field. And when you lower your head, there's a big possibility when you get hit. That's when bad things happen and things go wrong. And when I played, we had a kid, we was playing bull in the ring, right? And our coach would point out a player, and that's who would go get the guy in the middle. All right? And it was actually the coach's nephew, Charlie Wills. I don't know if you know him. Charlie had been in there and took on 3 or 4 people, and he was puking. He went to puking and had his head down. And the coach called out a kid, and he went and hit him. And Charlie Wills never played football again because it bruised, it messed his back up and his neck and all. And Charlie was a good football player. And just to have that happen, it was totally an accident. But when you lower your head, bad things happen. So that's one reason of importance. I stress this. Kids, keep your head up when you tackle.
Do you think that we'll talk college football just a second. Do you think that injury that Inky Johnson took in the Air Force game, do you think that was due that he dropped his head, or do you think that was just because he hit that kid so hard he just knocked himself out?
It's been a long time since I've seen that hit.
But that guy.
That kid. That's all there was.
But that guy practically paralyzed himself and couldn't never play football again.
He really didn't paralyze himself. What he did when he hit the guy, it busted an artery in his chest. Right? It just stretched the artery so hard and pulled it in two.
So injuries can happen.
An artery out of his arm to put in his chest to save his life.
So injuries can happen on the football field. Sometimes you get hurt. Sometimes you get hurt, and you think you're doing everything correct. And next thing you know, your body's just going into a shock.
Hey, another thing, these guys on the sideline, you know about injuries. I've seen some injuries, some pretty bad injuries, from kids standing on the sideline not paying attention to the game, and the ball comes toward them. And
they get run over.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. Now, we talk about injuries and people getting hit and stuff like this. There's some things you just can't avoid. But keeping your head up is one of them. It's an unavoidable type it's just unavoidable if you keep your head up. The chances of you getting your back or neck hurt are very, very slim when you keep your face mask in the guy's numbers. Another thing that I try to teach my son. Of course, we
did have a kid last year in Harris get hurt on special teams. I think he had his head up, and I think he just got blindsided from behind, didn't he?
Yeah, he kind of got hit in the ear hole.
So that goes to show that sometimes you can keep your head up, and you can still get hurt with your head up.
You can. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. But as far as I'm talking a back injury, things like that, like people getting paralyzed, it happens every year to somebody. In football, whether it be from Pee Wee to the pros, somebody always gets a back injury.
But that's going to be as more rare though if you keep your head up.
They have their head down. Yes, so it's very important to keep your head up. All right, so we've covered that. We've covered. We got what? 4 seniors. I just talked about Austin. I talked about Stallings, McKinley, and Ray. We covered those 4. Who's our 5th senior?
Is the Vault kid a senior?
Vault is a senior. Him and Pope both. We can actually cover both of them in one. All right. Both of these guys Pope is intelligent. He is a very smart kid. And I'm not 100% on Vault. I'm pretty sure he's a smart kid. Both of these guys are big kids. Right? And both of these guys have experience playing on that offensive line. So I expect them to step up. If somebody don't know who to block or whatever, what blocking scheme
step up and take a leadership role.
They're going to step up and correct mistakes from the younger guys. That may be playing guard. They're going to step up and say, look, we got to do this or we got to do that. This is the way it has to be done.
They need to be the captains on defense and offense when they're out there.
That's right. Both of them guys, I know they've got a lot of offense experience on that offense.
And they also play a little defense too, don't they?
Yeah, they're going to have to play both ways this year, which is something they didn't have to do last year. I think Vaught had an injury last year. Didn't he? Didn't he hurt his ankle or something last season?
I'm not real sure,
but I don't know.
But we expect them to step up and play their positions well.
Both of those kids, Vaught has been the Mr. Football lineman. Been talking about him, and I can't count out Pope in that position because him and Pope are, to me. Both of them have great footwork.
So you could see Pope getting there too, and possibly being a runner, being a spot for it too, even though he's not there now.
You don't see his name on there.
He could get there.
Pope and Vault. When you mention those 2 names, I expect the same thing out of both those kids.
Well, I expect us to go deep in the playoffs, and I wouldn't be surprised if both those kids, when the season was over, had 100 pancakes apiece.
Hey, it's possible.
They could get several pancakes, and hopefully Friday night they'll get about 25 pancakes apiece.
But yeah, when you mention those 2 guys, I expect the same thing out of both of them. I expect big things out of them. I don't expect more out of one than I do the other because they've both been playing that position since sophomores they've been starting, I think, and probably had a lot of playing time as freshmen out there. All right, so we covered that would be 6 of our seniors.
Well, who's the other 2?
Who's our 7th? I know we got a 7th. Forgive me for missing them, but I know we got a 7th. Let me look right here a second. I can go in here. Jason West, the center. He's the senior. And he's been starting a couple years. He started center last year. And to me, experience is as much as talent, if you ask me.
Well, what about Connor?
Connor Warren, that's another one.
Is Connor Warren one too?
Connor's one of them kids that can step up, and he can go out and play a defensive end role, or he can play a tight end role.
He's a senior as well.
He probably knows how to play at fullback. He's a big kid, and he's got a lot going for him. Connor's he works hard out there just like everybody else. And
I thought that kid was a senior.
Yeah, he's a senior. I was trying to think. I was about to pull up a picture.
I was counting off numbers, and then I come to 13. I was like, "That's Connor Warren." Well, what's his grade?
I think we've covered them all. We may have one more that's moved in here.
Let's
and
see,
I'm not
14,
100%.
15, 14, 15, 16.
Let me go in here and just look at this picture.
17.
Because I can go through it and I can tell you a
19,
little bit about every one of these kids when I look at the team picture.
19, 20. I'm calculating numbers here, trying to figure out who we could have. 23, 4.
Let me just pull this up. Oh,
6,
God.
7, 8. What's Chris Wells? He's a junior, ain't he?
Chris Welsh is junior.
28. Braxton's junior. 29, 30, 30.
Then we got, like I said, we got Chris Ray, Pope, and Balt.
What about Thompson's? What's his
Thompson's a
grade?
junior.
Junior?
Then we got West and Fan.
941. Tristan Corthell, is he senior?
No, he's sophomore. We got McKinley and Stallings and Ray. That's the ones I said. We have 3 new kids that transferred in here, and I'm not 100%.
How many of them is actually going to play football and how many not?
Well, we got 3, and I'm not sure what class they're in, whether they're a freshman, sophomore, junior, or whatever. I don't know.
Are they going to get to see some action this year?
They should get to see some action, maybe. And in JV, we're going to play Red Bull, and when we get a big league, we expect to see those young guys get in there, even if they are younger, or maybe they are less experienced. And that's something they try to get everybody in the game up there as much as they can, because they know that just the more experience you get, the better you play football. And I think that's what a jamboree, what the purpose of a jamboree was, is to get some of that pressure off these kids that have never been out there, like an Austin Fan. He started in junior high and played well. But in high school, he hadn't had a starting position, and a lot of them kids haven't. They've played a lot, but they haven't really had that starting role and had that. It's almost like a responsibility that's put on your shoulders that you have to perform.
Well, do you see a lot of that? Do you see a lot of kids maybe play junior high football at a certain position, and then once they get up to high school level, the coach just tries them in a new position that they didn't play in junior high, just to try them around and see if they can play other positions besides the one that's their main one that they played in junior high?
I think you see that a lot. I think you see a lot of kids.
Like, for example, let's say you're in junior high and you play, I don't know, quarterback. The coach might bring you up to the big leagues and say, let me try you at wideout, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can take about 75% of the kids and turn them into a wideout. But to be a good wideout, you have to play it a long time and specialize in it, like McKinley. He's been playing wideout and slot back for a long time, and he runs great routes. Bill Washer's another one. He runs great routes, and he's played it a long time. He was catching balls in junior high, same as McKinley. And if you do that over and over and over, eventually you get good at it. And it's like anything else. What you do every day is what you're good at, and that's what you get.
Well, what's the most important part of being a wide receiver in your opinion? Running the good route, or catching the ball, or just getting open?
Sometimes I think those things matter, is catching the ball and running a good route. You got to be able to run a good route to get open. And catching the football, of course, if it gets close to you. Sometimes you got to get a little dirty. Of course,
another part of the wide receiver position is blocking. You got to be a good blocker.
To me, is the most important skill you can have at wide receiver. And the reason I say that is if that kid comes out of the backfield and he's got one man to beat, you might be the guy to block him. And you're kind of the tip of the spear, so to speak, when you get out there.
So we don't really want to see a lot of that this year. We don't really want to see our wideouts out there lollygagging, and thinking, well, this play I'm not getting the ball thrown. I'm not getting the ball thrown to me, so I'm just going to run around and just drag it. We don't need that.
Yeah, that's right. I'm always on to my son every time he comes in and I've watched him play. And son, Don't run out there and tap the guy. Don't give him 5. Don't shake his hand. Hit him. You know, put your hands on him and give him a good shove. Keep him occupied, because as long as you got him occupied, he's not making any tackles. You know, and
or
you get a good running back like Braxton.
He just needs that. He just needs that one good block.
All you got to do is occupy that kid for a split second, and Braxton is going to make the right cut. You got some kids that'll run you plumb over when you're blocking, and you know it happens. The running back runs right over the guy blocking for him. But
the thing that we was always taught though, as a blocker, and I don't know if it really matters as a wide receiver, but if we're like on the offensive line, what they always taught us was, if you got a guy that's quicker than you, and you know that the play is going, say, left, and you're running the ball to the left, if he's quicker than you, just use his quickness against him and shove him to the right. Because if you shove him to the right and the play's going left, he's not going to make the play.
Yeah, I'll tell you one time, I blocked a kid only based on knowledge. Okay, knowledge of the game. We're in triple overtime against Westmoreland. All right.
And you're lined up at receiver.
I was lined up at receiver, and I knew this guy. He was one of the guys that had a chance to make a play. It was a big play, and they're probably expecting anything at this point.
And what kind of play was called in the huddle that y'all was going to run?
The same play we had run all night, which was a 132.
What is that play for people who don't know?
It was a run over. It was actually a quarterback option, triple option over the left side. All right, where a quarterback faked. You know, he had the option to give it to the fullback, keep it himself, or pitch it to the tailback.
Right, but if you're going left, then naturally you want to send your other guy right if you can.
The rule is, if you're a defensive back, you've been taught that if that receiver goes all the way to the sideline, let him go all the way to the sideline, because the quarterback can't throw that ball that far that fast. You split the distance and cover the guy, right? I go all the way to the sideline, and this guy goes with me and basically blocks himself. I just went out there to see if he would follow me, and he kept following me and kept following me, so I kept going, and I didn't even have to block the guy. And I blocked him with knowledge of the game instead of having to use my skill. And you know, that's something that...
So you drawed him in just by running something that you knew wasn't even going to get the ball no way. You just went out there and drawed him in to make him think he was going to get it.
My man did not make the tackle and had no opportunity to make a tackle, and I didn't even have to touch him.
And you was lined up on the right side, right?
That's right. He blocked himself.
And you drugged that guy right with you and took him completely out.
I just took him all the way to the sideline, and he blocked himself. So...
You didn't even have to do nothing except just run a route, right?
Knowledge of the game will help you a lot more than skill in a lot of cases. So learning the game of football, when you're standing back, some of these younger guys that are standing back during practice, pay attention. You can learn something. And anyway, Paul, we touched on Macon County there.
Right.
The Jamboree. Passing practice is the way I took it. Just playing a game. They had a kid that offensively that probably could have scored 3 or 4 touchdowns and really challenged our defense. The 15, the Carlisle kid.
But they pretty much rested him on the night too, and took it easy.
I think they practiced what, he's better at running the ball than he is throwing it. So they took the opportunity to practice him throwing the football and pass blocking.
And that's what the Jamboree is for, to practice your weak spots.
No matter how it works, if you run the football in high school, you still got to have a passing game, because there's going to come a situation where you have to be able to throw the football. You have to.
And they felt like that might be their weak spot, so they threw it around.
You have to practice on this. And I think last season we looked this stat up. We were about 75-25 run to pass. And
but our quarterback threw for like 1,300 yards and like 13 or 15 touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. If you can do that, do it and keep it at 75-25.
You just figure though on Goolsby's passing yards and Braxton's running yards, just between them two players, we had about 3,000 yards of offense just between them two players, and that's not counting the B teamers and their yards.
Yeah, I agree.
So we was pretty balanced last year. Just our 2 stars right there had about 3,000 yards right there.
Yeah, I think we're going to have another 3,000-yard performance, whether it be from a single player or some, you know what I'm saying, getting some. Using 2 players, quarterback, receiver.
Well, I tell you, I would be tickled. I would be tickled if Goolsby could throw for 1,000 yards this year and Braxton could run for 2,000. Because if Braxton can do 2,000 yards, I think Goolsby will be okay with just 1,000 yards passing.
Hey, look. Here's what I expect. I expect to get enough yardage every week to win a football game.
For the game, though, how many yards?
Here's my opinion. I'm just going to give you an honest opinion. If we have to give Braxton the ball 28, 30 times a game, I think it's shooting herself in the foot for later on down the road because you've got to keep your kids healthy.
And that's what my dad was saying today. He said, what would you rather do? Would you rather get Braxton 200, 250 yards a game and take a chance on getting him hurt when the game's already won? Or would you rather pull him at half and give somebody else a chance to play? Because you don't need to get 200 yards a game if you're winning.
I agree with that. I agree with that totally.
If you've got 150 yards and you're up 21 to nothing, then you don't need to risk it.
Yeah, you don't need to coddle a kid and tell him, look, you got to be tough to play football. That's all there's to him. Braxton's a tough kid. He's tough as they get.
Absolutely.
But if you have to give him the ball, if it's a have-to situation, you have to feed him the ball 28, 30 times a game to win, then obviously we need to work somewhere else. Does that make sense? That's my honest opinion. I don't think you're going to be able to keep him healthy long enough.
I don't. My honest opinion, I don't think the kid needs over 15 carries a game, and then maybe give the Welsh kid about 12 or 15 carries and split it up.
Carries to no more than 20 a game, I think we'll be good. But like I said, I'm not a coach. I'm just giving my opinion.
Right, but I think split the carries with him and Welsh and let them both get some action.
You gotta give him that extra 7-8 carries to get a win. That may happen, and that's fine. But you can't do that every game, like you said. If you got a big lead, you got to spread the ball around. And
you're absolutely right. And if we're already up 21 to nothing on a team, then maybe let the young kids play.
I don't think these coaches know. We got some pretty smart coaches.
Because we don't have to risk getting him hurt. Because if we get him hurt, what good's it done us just to get him 200 yards in a game?
Yeah.
But
well, all right, Paul. We a little bit something I didn't show earlier. How did you feel when you walked out there Friday night at that Jamboree and you look up and, me and you had discussed this. I told you we had a drone. And, Paul, you wanted to know what a drone was, right?
Yeah, and I found out that the drone's the little old helicopter that's remote controlled and it flies over the field. And this thing actually shoots photos of
shoots video
of our game film on the field.
10 megapixel video.
But I'm gonna tell this story because I know he's going there, and I'm gonna tell it myself.
I tell it better than you.
He actually had me convinced that it was an actual helicopter that was flying over the field, and that I could actually get up in it and run the camera.
I told you they were needing somebody that could fly the drone.
And he said they were needing somebody that needed to fly the drone, and would you be willing to try? And I thought I was actually going to have to get up there and fly a helicopter over the field.
I had Paul convinced that he could fly the drone, and he just flat out told me he couldn't fit in that thing. That was your exact words. I can't fit in that thing.
Yeah, I actually said that. I can't fit in that thing.
But just, I'm gonna try to give these players. I took a screenshot from a little bit of this, and I might should have got permission before I show this, but I don't think it'll hurt anything. I'm gonna show a screenshot of how this view actually looks right here, and we have named it Moose Force 1. If none of you know this, that's the official name of our drone that you see hovering above the stadium there at Turning Ford Field. And look at this view on screen. I mean, it's amazing. You can see the whole field there. The only thing I don't like is in some situations you can't see the pass. If it's a deep ball, it takes a second for that drone to catch up with it. If you want to, and you really want, this is from a coaching standpoint, you really want a good view of that offensive line and what's going on in the trenches, because that's ultimately what decides football games. If a lot of people don't know, it's not you gotta have a big play, but you gotta know what's going on in them trenches, who's going where, what block's going where, whatever. And it's just a great tool to be able to have this. And just remember, Moose Force 1 is the name of this thing. Don't forget it. And if you see it hovering, Paul Martin is inside that thing, and he's the pilot on that. So just remember that.
Yeah, it's
this guy right here sitting across from me behind this desk.
The Paul Martin bobblehead doll is inside that thing riding.
Paul is flying that thing.
My bobblehead.
Anyway, Paul, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to discuss who.
Gordonsville, Watertown.
Gordonsville, Watertown coming up week 1, no longer week 0. TSSAA Bernard Childers finally used the brain cell and changed week 0 to week 1, and now we play 11 weeks instead of 0 to 10. And he learned that.
Hey man, Reno Bun here, man. Got a message for you boys. Learn something new this week. People are actually getting paid to mention businesses and stuff on your Facebooks and your Twitters and Snapchats, Instagram, stuff like that, your YouTube videos, stuff like that. People are getting paid good money to mention these businesses on there, and that's just crazy to me. But hey, that reminds me that for all your real estate and home buying needs, call Matt Gentry at Heartland Real Estate, 615-683-7560, and he'll get that thing listed and get it sold for you. I tell you what I did, man. Called over there and talked to Matt. Told him, look, I'm thinking I'm getting a little behind on my payments. I'm just going to go ahead and sell this place, and I'm going to move to Mexico. Well, he asked me, he said, Reno, why do you want to move your family to Mexico? And I said, well, I heard they use a different form of currency down there, and you don't pay so much. But anyway, I'm just going to tell you fellas that I appreciate, Facebooks and Instagram, stuff like that, because if I didn't have Facebook, I'd have to call my 498 friends and tell them what I had for dinner, But anyway, back to Gentry. Hey, I tell you what he did. New realtor. And he come out and he described my trailer. Man, made this place sound like the Garage Mahal. And I looked good, took pictures, got his camera out, got a little Nikon camera, and takes good pictures with it. Had him take a couple of me while he was out there, under the tree over by the tire swing. Took a couple of me, and made me even look pretty good. But I just gonna tell you that, hey, he done such a good job. He done such a good job taking pictures and stuff and listing my trailer and describing this place, man. Sounded beautiful, man. Sounded like a wonderful place to live, and he convinced me to just buy it back. That's how good he is. That's how good a realtor he is. He just had me buy my own place back from me. And anyway, man, I just gonna tell y'all to get in on this new business model and mention businesses on YouTube videos and stuff. And get you some money out there, get you a couple dollars for doing this stuff, make $1 or $2 here and there, and don't forget to call 615-683-7560. Talk to Matt Gentry, and buy your house, a trailer, whatever you need, man. He'll sell whatever you got. He'll probably sell it for you, or he'll help you buy it. But anyway, man, I'm gonna holler at you, and see you boys later. Y'all keep up the good work.
Welcome back to In the Huddle.
All right, Paul. Next segment here, we just heard from Reno Bun there. He's still a character, still a big fan of the show, calling in.
Right.
Always got a joke, a cheesy joke.
He does.
Anyway, Watertown, Paul. How long has it been since you've been to Watertown Stadium? Have you been to their new stadium?
I have never been to the new stadium, so this will be my first time visiting the new Watertown Stadium.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, it's really a nice facility, but personally, I think it kind of sucks a little bit, and I'll tell you why. Because they got this big long track, all right, and the track covers a big wide area. They got a fence inside the track, and then there's a fence outside the track that the spectators had to stay behind. So you're 20 to 25 yards from the field if you're on the front row, and it just makes it hard to see. But it's an excellent, nice facility other than that fact. And
well, can you see the field better if you're standing on the fence like I normally am?
You could probably see it better from in the stands, which may be what I do this way. I don't know. I'm gonna have to.
So we may have to do something this week that we don't normally do, and that's actually go into the stands and sit during a game. And you and I, it's been a long, long time since during a football game, we've actually went up in the stands and sat, ain't it?
They got a nice press box. I may see if we can get some press passes, maybe sneak in under a media.
You think that's possible?
I doubt it, but we can try. We'll see what we got to do to get media passes, and get up in the press box, maybe with Pat and Keith.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, buddy, but it would be a lot colder up there probably because
Right.
heat is probably going to play a factor, as it does in most early games in the
Right, and
late
if it's
summer, early fall.
right, and where he'll probably be on the he might be on the Watertown side up the press box. So
they don't have a press box on
if
the
you remember,
other side.
one time at one of the road teams when he got up the press box, Pat could have really used us because he had a guy that was the size of Paul Bunyan trying to attack him.
That's another
So he might be glad to have you and I up there as part of his protection agency.
That was Solano last year. He hollered bang one too many times, didn't he?
Right, but he can get away with that though if he's got his protection agency.
We might see if the radio station would get us some security guard passes, to help protect Pat in the game.
That might be an idea. Just wear some security clothes and go up there and be Pat's reinforcement.
Have you got a shirt with security on it, or is it something we can buy before Friday night?
No, but if we can find some security clothes, then how they gonna know the difference?
Yeah, they would never know, would they?
Just don't wear blue. Just go in security clothes and be Pat's arm security.
Yeah, sports nut security. How about that?
Yeah.
I like that idea, Paul. It's a pretty good idea.
Then at least
slip in there.
Right, and then at least we can block. We can make the excuse that we're protecting Pat, and then we can get up there where it's cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I heard they had they do got a real nice facility. I've been to Watertown a time or two, watching JV games and actually watching.
But in all seriousness, you can probably sit. You think it'll probably be better just to stand up in the actual bleachers up there to be able to see better than actually down at the fence.
Yes.
At this particular stadium, anyway.
Yeah, you got to be. I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not great. I compared a lot to South Pittsburgh, but at South Pittsburgh, you can actually get on the other side of the track. They got that wall, which is a really nice way to do it. That little block wall, because it gives you a place to sit. You can stand.
So there's actually no part of this fence that we're going to go to Friday that you can actually see the field good from.
Yeah, and the fence is real high too. It's like up around your chest, which makes it really difficult. It's hard to lean on.
I don't know if I like that too well because
I
like standing at the fence and being able to communicate with the players.
It's an excellent facility. It looks great, but it's just functionality I don't like.
And you can't even when you're at the fence, you can't even get close enough to your actual team where you can talk to them, can you?
Let's just say this, Paul. You're not going to be dialing up any plays Friday night because you're going to be so far away the coaches can't hear you.
And the players can't either.
Man, can't nobody hear you either. So
it's pretty much going to come down to you just spectating the game, and you might not even see all the game from where you at.
Tell you what, you can just sit back and eat your popcorn, your peanuts, and just enjoy the show.
Are we going to need a pair of binoculars just to see the field?
We may.
Do you have any? If we need them, some binoculars.
I'll get you. We could use some of them glasses, like some of them glasses they're going to use for the eclipse.
I don't know if we even need them. We probably won't be able to see crap out of them things.
Yeah.
But you might find us some binoculars in case we might need them.
Old Reno's talking about this eclipse, but right. I hope he knows you got to wear glasses. You reckon he knows that?
I don't know if it really affect him much as he drinks. He could probably look at it straight because he's already cross-eyed anyway.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Paul, I watched a little bit of Huddle with my son. I showed you a little bit of it. Watertown.
Right.
Of course, I couldn't tell whether they were the JV team, the starting team. I really don't know. But from what I've seen, I think we can compete with these guys.
Right, because they snapped the ball over their quarterback's head at least a good 3 or 4 times.
That's something they're going to have to work on.
And their defense is suspect at best because they miss a lot of tackles and Joe Burns in one of their scrimmages. And I think Joe Burns is a smaller team and got a smaller line than they do, and they whipped them. They just pushed them around all over the field.
They moved the football.
So I believe we're going to move them around.
I think we've seen some different linebackers in the Upperman game that we watched in the Joe Burns game. Like I said, I don't know how that works out and all, but they got some good-looking athletes. Yeah,
they've got a running back and a receiver both that can move and make some plays for them.
we're going to tackle well. I mean, like I said, we just discussed keeping your head down.
I think what it's going to boil down to is they're going to try to run some buck sweep at us, and they're going to try to do my Packney flat pass out there and get that guy ball in space and see if we can tackle him. And if we don't tackle him, it'll be a long night. But if we can wrap him up and bring him down, he ain't going to get over 5 yards on no play. And the best thing you can do if you're like a DB playing the pass is keep the guy in front of you. Do not let him get behind you, because if you let him get behind you, it's bad news.
Yeah. You got to keep everything in front of you. That's number one rule of safety. That's what you're back there for.
Right. And on the buck sweep, you can't get trapped inside. You got to fight. You got to fight off blocks and make a play, and that's going to be key for our defensive ends. Friday night is don't get trapped inside. You gotta fight your way to the ball and don't let them get around you.
Yeah, I think the key to a lot of good defensive play is defensive ends, and
I agree with that.
Still yet to find.
And we've got to find some rhythm. We've got to find some rhythm at defensive end position.
Yeah, we need to find somebody that's going to settle in at defensive end. We've been moving some kids around here and there, and some of them played it better than others.
And that's actually the position on our defense that I think needs the most work, defensive end, because I think we've really got to get those defensive ends tough and be willing to make plays, because if we don't,
is the dogs howling, throwing you off?
Because if we don't get our defensive ends to get some pressure on the quarterback and not get contained and not get contained, because if he gets contained, go ahead and howl with him. I'm just kidding, buddy. Go ahead. Because if our defensive ends gets contained and trapped inside, it's going to be a long night, because they'll just run buck sweep and run us to death. But we've got to fight off blocks and make plays at defensive ends, and like I say, that's the position I think we need the most work on, and hopefully Friday night we can see some improvements at defensive end.
I mean, everybody's got a role to play on defense, but I think the defensive end, with those two we had last year, are going to be missed. But just like every other year, somebody's got to step up and play, and I think we're eventually going to find that. And we're going to find a kid that settles in at defensive end, and he's going to get better every week, and that's just the way it is. I don't know that's going to be.
But
Jason West actually played a great game.
The one way, though, to kind of counter if you got defensive end problems, the one way to counter it is to put like maybe 4 linebackers on the field and put a linebacker kind of over the ball, kind of close to where the defensive end would be, and then maybe you can get pressure on them with a linebacker or two, and that might fill the holes in maybe a weak defensive end position if you get maybe in like a 4-4.
You're talking about switching from a 50-D to a 4-4.
Yeah, a 4-4 could work.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. And I think you're going to see that some, maybe.
If we have problems with our defensive ends making plays, then maybe we should swap to the 4-4 and see what we can do out of it.
Yeah, I think Coach Marshall, like I've said, I believe he's one of the better defensive coaches around, and there's not many good ones. Of course, Coach Petty, he's either learned from him or taught him something, because his defense played stellar tonight.
Right.
And they know how to adjust to those situations better than you and me, of course. But hey, there are some things you can do to counter some things they're doing, and those coaches know that. We got a good defensive coach, and if anything, I think he'll make those changes.
But if you're playing a team that mostly likes to run the ball and doesn't throw it a whole lot, then the 4-4 is probably a pretty good adjustment to go to.
Well, I think.
And it might even be something that we could actually counter a wing T offense with, getting that 4-4.
I don't know if you know this or not, but it's actually going to be Coach Webster's son is going to be starting at quarterback Friday night against us. Should be, pending that you don't get injured this week during practice or whatever. And they like to run it and throw it. They got the skill set to do both.
Well, the 4-4 is very good.
But I believe the front 5. That's where your challenge is going to lie. Just like any football game, it's as simple. Winning and losing a football game, and I've said this before.
It's blocking and tackling.
It's as simple as blocking and tackling. That's from Pee Wee to the NFL. Whoever blocks the best and whoever tackles the best usually wins that football game.
And you got to throw in also whichever team's coached the best. Coaching has a lot to do with it too.
Does have a lot to do with it, but a lot of times the coaches can't play for you.
They can't, but the better coach team and the better conditioned team that's put in the most work in the spring and stuff will usually win.
I mentioned heat earlier, and there's a big reason I mentioned that because you're going to have kids cramping up. It always happens. There's going to be kids cramping up as soon as it gets hot and humid. It's the worst time of year to do anything outside right now. And the humidity and just the heat is, that plays a big factor early in the season. Not so much down the road, but early in the season, it plays a huge role.
But I mean, tomorrow's Wednesday, so they got Wednesday, Thursday, and then a walk through Friday. So they got these extra they got about 3 days to get themselves in good conditioning to go down there Friday night and win a football game, and that's going to play a big role. You want to come into the ball game conditions. You don't want to come in there. You don't want to give no half efforts. What I'm trying to say, you want to be conditioned, you want to be conditioned. I mean, and if it's a close game going into the fourth quarter, something else that we need to do is we need to take care of the football. I mean, Braxton needs to hang on to the football tight as he can hang on to it, because they're going to try to strip him and they're going to try to get that big turnover that could change the whole complexion of the game. So that needs to be discussed. Hang on to the football and don't turn it loose.
Turnovers play a huge part in any ball game, and that's from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. And
you need to know the situation. If it's 14-14 with about 2 minutes to go in the game and you're driving to win the football game, just common sense is going to tell you they're going to try to strip you.
To me, the key to the game Friday night, all right, I think we match up well with them from what I've seen. Of course, they pulled a lot of kids from Lebanon and Wilson Central into Watertown, and it, it makes it tougher and tougher every year to compete because they keep adding kids, and they've rezoned all that down there.
Well, will that play a role in this game if they've got more kids than us and they can keep their kids fresh and our kids may be tired because we're having to go both ways?
That does play a lot in anything, but listen, we're a single A program. We expect kids to play both sides of the football, pending we have to.
That's the reason I said we got all week to get as good in conditioning as we can, because we're going to need that Friday night. Because
the big guys need to be in shape, that's for sure.
Because conditioning is going to be a huge role when it gets down that fourth quarter. Those
younger guys, and I've said this before, you take those younger kids, like I'm just going to use my son as another example here. He don't get the best of grades sometimes. When them kids fail at school, they have to run the hill. All right. Honestly, unless my son weighed 300 pounds, I don't think it would affect him, because he's so scrawny and little. He can run that hill all day long and not get tired. That's just the way it is. So conditioning for those offensive linemen and those bigger guys up front is a lot more important to me than your younger guys. Of course, they need to be in shape, no doubt. But they laugh when they have to run hills. Them kids, they can run up and down it. But the bigger kids, they struggle with it a little bit. And I think the key is, here's the first thing that happens when your body starts getting tired. Your mental state starts dropping. You forget to do this, forget to do that. And if you don't believe me, I've been working in my shop before and got hot, and you'll just forget what you're doing. Maybe that's old age.
That's the truth, because I've been out weed eating yards before when I used to do that, and I'd get tired. I'd get tired sometimes. My eyesight would start going blind on me, and I'd just have spells, and a few times I had to turn the weed eater off and go lay down for about 30 minutes because I thought I was going to have a heart attack where I got so hot and wore out.
But yeah, being a bigger kid, it plays a huge role is being in shape. And just doing those things you have to do.
And that's absolutely right, because I walked to and from the game tonight, and my back was about to give out. And of course, if y'all see me, I'm probably close to 400 pounds. So I can tell you that it does take a huge role on the big kids, and you're going to get hot, and your back's going to hurt, and you're going to feel like, man, I wish I didn't have to do this, but.
You perform a whole lot better under good conditions. You know, when you're not so hot
Right.
and you're not out of breath, and
Right.
you know the brain needs oxygen to survive. And when it starts losing oxygen, you forget things. And you know, I think the mental game of football is what's going to win Friday night. Mentally, these kids have to be tough, and I think we are. I think we got some kids out there that won't quit, and that's another key. Not quit, never giving up. I don't care if you're down 4 touchdowns, you don't quit. At least that's the way I was taught.
Like Vince Lombardi said it well too. He said, "You go out there and you play a football game and you give it all you got, and I don't care if you're mentally exhausted and you fall out on the field when the game's over. You give it all you got, and there's no shame in that. Even if no matter what, you give it all you got. There's no shame in that because then you know even if you got beat." It's going to hurt, don't get me wrong, because losing always hurts. But if you know you gave 110% every play and gave it all you got, that's all a coach or you could ask of yourself, either one.
Yeah. If it don't lose when you hurt, you got a problem. You know.
You're right, because I've never lost it. I've never lost at anything that I actually felt good. I didn't feel good losing, and I still don't feel good losing to this day.
Oh, all right, Paul. Let's talk a little bit about us offensively compared to their defense. They got a couple kids in the secondary that are pretty mobile. I noticed that, and linebackers. They got 2 good-looking linebackers sitting back there. But I think we can match up with them. All we do is block them.
Right.
And I think we challenge the linebackers. Go right at them, challenge them, and let's just see how good they are. And then once we find out how good they are, then we adjust to how they're playing. I mean, honestly, what would you do?
I mean, you just pretty much nailed it point on. If you're whipping them, then you just run it right up the middle. But of course, if they're getting the best of you, then you might have to improvise and run some plays to the outside, like my old flat pass that I like, and some other stuff.
I think even our running game, we got 2 big tackles. I think our running game is an off-tackle running game.
Of course, there's a good chance, though, that Braxton, he's getting some work at linebacker. There's a good chance that getting work at linebacker, he's pretty much going to know what those linebackers are doing because he plays the position himself. Yeah, so he's actually pretty well going to know what lines they're trying to take and make that man miss.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's an advantage we got for us.
What's your key to victory Friday night?
Offensively or defensively?
Both. Just the key to winning that football game.
Just be mentally prepared and come in there conditioned and just come in there thinking you can win because I've always and if you go behind early. I don't like to talk about poker a whole lot on the show, but I'm gonna use an example because
going into gamble mode.
I'm gonna use an example. I was playing a tournament the other night, and this guy that put me in this tournament, I got down to the shortest stack of anybody, shortest stack out of everybody in the tournament, and there was 17 people left, and this guy, he looks at me and he said, "I wasted putting you in the tournament because you're gonna be out." I looked at that guy and I said, "It ain't over yet. I still got chips in front of me. I'm not quitting. I'm going to the front of this pack." And well, I doubled up a few times. Next thing you know, I'm up to 7th best. Then I doubled up another few times. I'm up to 3rd best. Then I doubled up one more time and I'm leading the thing. And then my buddy, he says, "I don't believe this, but what a comeback." He said, "You're in position to win this thing." And we went to the final table, and I wound up whipping every one of them. Never even threw a power punch one. I was just hitting just simple jab plays, and didn't even have to run a special play. I was just hitting straight up dives right up the middle and scored on them and won the ball game. So my point is. You got to go into the game believing you can win, and even if you get behind early, like say the score is 14-7, Watertown at the end of the first half. Even if you get behind, you got to still believe you can win, and you got to get out there and perform, and that's the key to victory: believing you can win.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Offensively, believe you can win.
I have to agree with that. Some kids don't fight till they're down. Some people don't fight until you got them down and get them pinned. You think you got them pinned, then they come back.
Yeah, that's my style.
Wrestlers get a 2 count kicked on them, and then what happens? They kick out of it, and come back and win.
You're absolutely right, and you just gotta give that little extra when people's counting you out and saying, well, they're down, they're probably beat now. And you gotta kick it in and say, I'm not beat till the final whistle goes off, and keep fighting.
That's right. Well, Paul, I'm gonna give you my key to victory. And I heard a good preacher. I went to visit my grandmother in the nursing home and got to attend church services on Saturday evening. They come in there, the preacher comes in, he has a little church service. I got there just in time, and he asked me to join him, so I did. And he touched on something, and you can really relate this to football or life in general. And he started talking about when Noah built the ark, all right, that he had a specific set of instructions that he gave Noah to build the ark, and he built it to the spec. He didn't stray off. He didn't take a shortcut like some of these contractors building a house. When they get a blueprint, sometimes they'll take a shortcut, and it reflects on their work down the road. It might be 10 years down the road it reflects on it, but he gives them specific instructions, right? He gave Noah specific instructions on how to build the ark. He built that thing, and engineers even today claim that it would have withstood some of the biggest waves that could possibly ever be, that it would withstand those. And they've studied the blueprints for this, and some of our actual American ships are designed based on the blueprints that Noah built the ark on. And Noah did not stray from what he was told, and had he strayed off of it, you think that ship might have survived?
I doubt it.
I mean, it's very possible. So God gave him a specific set of instructions. Now, your coach gives you a specific set of instructions to follow when you go out on that football field. That's what you practice all week. If you'll follow those, then I think success lies ahead of that. And that's just my opinion on that. And I think the key to victory is for those kids to go out and they have to perform exactly as the coach, do their duties exactly as the coach instructs them. And if they do that, then I think that's the key to victory. So, have you got any words that would encourage these players for Friday night, Paul? You got a sermon? We're going to move our sermon to the end of the show because I believe it was so popular last year. We're just going to go ahead and move it to the end. That way maybe people will listen to the rest of it and see. They're probably just watching your sermon and then cutting it off.
Well,
what do you think about that?
I'm going to give a sermon.
All right, go ahead.
Well, there was this guy in the Bible days named Nehemiah. And Nehemiah, of course, the enemy, they went over into Israel or Jerusalem or up over in there somewhere.
Somewhere over in the sandy desert.
Maybe Jericho. It was somewhere over in the sandy desert.
You got to pay attention in church more.
But they went over there, and of course, there was a lot of enemies coming in, so they was obstructed to build a wall, and so they go ahead and they build their wall, and they get it done, and the enemy couldn't come in there because they had a wall protecting them all the way around them, and they said, and God told them, He said, rise up and build. So they rose up and they built their wall, and they was protected by the enemy. So the hashtag for Friday night is rise up and build, because this is the opening week of the football season, and we got a lot of young guys on defense, and it's going to be their job to rise up and build and build the wall, because if we can build the wall, and even on defense, if we can build the wall, they're probably not going to find a lot of success running the ball if we got a wall built, because they're not running through the wall.
They ain't gonna make it through the wall, are they?
No. So rise up and build that wall, and don't let them get through. Almost like that game we used to play in elementary. Red Rover, send whoever over. The other opponent's team is the Red Rover, and if you build a wall, they ain't breaking through the chain.
That's right. Somebody's gonna get clotheslined and hurt.
That's right.
That's right. Somebody's kids.
And that's the object, to build a wall and not let the Red Rover right through.
All right. Well, that's a pretty good little spill there, Paul. I enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Well, Friday night we're heading to Watertown. You got a place picked out to eat. You got big plans for us?
Well,
you driving down and let me ride with you, or how's this gonna work?
You're gonna be driving, cause I'd hate to be driving anywhere with my inexperience.
Is your driver's license valid?
I don't have any.
Well, I'm just gonna warn you. There's a clown over in Alexandria that will write you a ticket. So don't speed through Alexandria if you go that way.
Well, what is her plan? Is her plan to eat at Alexandria Cafe? Cause
we'll do. So we'll get a burger somewhere. Cause I promise you, I'm not gonna go too far without missing a meal.
Well, even if we don't eat at Alexandria Cafe, I just want y'all to know that if y'all want good food, Alexandria Cafe's got great food.
They got great food. We may call the order in, pick it up on the way, and just eat it. You know.
Amen.
Right there in the parking lot, Watertown High School.
Amen.
All right, Paul. In closing, anything in closing? Just win, beat Watertown.
In closing, I just want to say, bring your popcorn Friday night. It's gonna be a show.
It's gonna be a show. Bring your popcorn. Hey, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't liked and subscribed to our YouTube channel. Paul's got a goal. We're gonna get 1,000 subscribers by season's end. And
we hope so.
We're at what, 12?
Well, yeah, we need 988 more.
Let me look this up real quick. Let me go to YouTube. See how many subscribers we need. We'll set our goal right here tonight. I might sign out of this account and go to another one.
All right, we're gonna set a goal, you all. We need 1,000 subscribers.
That's in the huddle.
In the huddle.
TN@gmail.com, I think is the.
We need 1,000 subscribers, and I think we can get there because we took 10,000 to the state championship in 2012.
If we took 10,000 state championship, we can get 1,000 subscribers, Paul.
Yeah, because we've got at least that many fans at Gordonsville High School.
We've got 19. We're up to 19.
All right, we need 981 more.
981 more. And our best subscriber to date is the Milkman. Do you know the Milkman?
No, I don't.
I don't either, but he's a big time. He's liking all our stuff, and he's probably going to be the fan of the week every week here.
So the Milkman is bringing the milk.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say the Milkman is Mickey Barrett.
Ah.
And that's just my guess. I don't know. Sometimes these net handles are hard to come by. They're hard to guess who's who.
Right.
What's your net handle? You got a net handle you go by and you ain't got one?
No.
Like Mighty Martin, is that your net handle when you play poker online?
Well, that's my poker name, Mighty Martin.
All right.
But we hope to see all y'all at Watertown Friday night, and hope you come support the Big Blue, because we need all the fans we can get there to come out and support us and these young men, because we just need it.
We need it. Gordonsville always takes a big crowd. Everybody be safe on their trip, and
we'll see you there.
Good luck Friday night to the Big Blue. Beat Watertown.
See you later, alligator. What? From the city's eastern border, rear against the sky, proudly sings our alma mater as the years go by. Forever we are watched for conquer and prevail. Hail to thee, our alma mater, as the years go by.
Close enough.
Good job.
GHS. Oh, hell. 1, 2, 3. Hell, I can't even remember.